Hey guys, it's TheCubeSyndrome here. The reduction method is an effective way of solving big cubes. It involves solving the centers first, and then moving on to the edges, thus reducing the cube basically into a 3x3, where it can be solved with ease. This video will be going over how to solve the edges with a method known as free slice. The things shown will be at a low and intermediate level. So let's get straight into this. So once you solve your centers for your big cube, what I'm showing here is a 5x5, you'll be in a situation like this, where all of your edges are messed up. Now, what free slice involves is inserting edge pieces into these 4 middle edge slots, and then slicing it over, making a pair, and then taking it out and putting it at the top 4 slots. After these slots are filled up with completed edges, you turn the cube over and then you fill in these 4 slots. So I'm going to show you how it's done. So this is an example. I have these 2 orange and white pieces, and I'm going to find the last one. It could be anywhere here in these middle slots or at the bottom. So I'm going to check, and it's not at the top. It's not in the middle, so I'm going to check underneath, and it's here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just insert it to the bottom here so I can slice across and make up an edge. So I'm just going to do an upside down sledgehammer, and it's inside here. Now what I'm going to do is do a lowercase u prime to match all of this up, and then I'm going to bring it to the top like that. Now I have these 2. Now instead of just slicing back, I'm just going to keep it sliced. I'm not going to worry about how this is sliced over until the very end. So I already have these 2 paired up. I'm going to try and find the last piece. It's going to be yellow and orange. So I'm going to search out, and it's at the bottom here. I'm going to put it in the same way I did the last piece. So it ends up here. As you can see, it's at the top. And now I can freely slice over and make this edge and then replace it with an unsolved edge. You can still notice that my center is messed up, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to finish all 8 edges, top and bottom, and I'm going to go on to the next step. So what I notice is these 2. So I'm going to look around the puzzle, and I'll see this piece. So I'm just going to put that in. And this has to go there. So I'm going to do the same moves. And it's here. I'm going to slice across to make an edge, and then replace it with an unsolved edge. And I've done 3, and I'm going to do the last one here. Okay, time to try and find one. And I see these 2. Now if you notice, if I try to move it across, they're not matched up. So what I have to do instead is flip this so it goes to the top, and then when I slice over, it should match up. So you have to apply the flipping algorithm in this instance, which is this. And now you can notice it's jumped to the top. Now I'm just going to slice over like that. I've done 2. Now I'm going to try and find the last one, which is also here. And you can also notice I can't just move it across there, because it doesn't, first of all, it doesn't fit, and second of all, it moves this out of the way. So it's pretty apparent that I need this to be down here. So when I slice it across, it'll go in perfectly. So I'm just going to apply the same flipping algorithm again to flip this piece to the bottom. And there we go. I can easily slice across now with lowercase d2, and the piece is in place. Now what I'm going to do here is place a solved edge on the top, replace that, move that across, and then place it back. And now all 4 of the edges on the top are solved. Now I'm going to flip to the bottom, and you can see there's 4 more empty slots that I need to complete. I see this piece and its corresponding pieces here, and this needs to go in there so I can slice across and both pieces will match up correctly. So I'm just going to sledgehammer it in, slice across. Now all I'm missing is the middle piece. There it is here, and you can notice that because these 2 are the same color, when I move both pieces across, it will be an opposite. So I need to apply the flipping algorithm here or here. I'm just going to do it here so I don't have to rotate. So do the same thing as I did before. And there we go. Slice both of those across and put my first pair in. Now the next pair, I see this and this. Now this piece needs to go there with the red facing forward. So I'm just going to sledgehammer it again. And you see if I slice it across, they both match up. Now time to try and find my last piece, and it turns out it's back here. So I need to apply the flipping algorithm to move it up, because if I move it across, everything's all messed up. So I'm going to move this piece up like this. U2. And replace it with an unsolved edge. And now I see these two, and notice if I just sledgehammer it in like last time, this piece will be faced the wrong way, because if I slice it across, it's faced the wrong way. So what I have to do instead is, instead of sledgehammering it, you have to insert it like you would in a normal pair in 3x3. So that's just R, U prime, R prime, and now those two are set to be paired up. Now the last one is here, and this is very convenient because you can just slice this across like that, replace it with an unsolved edge. Okay, last one. Now I immediately see these two, and this is meant to be paired up with this piece. So in this case, I would sledge it in here. So the red is facing forward, and I can slice these two to the right. So I'm going to insert that piece in there, slice both of the pieces across to make a pair, and then put a solved edge at the top, get it out of the way, do a U, and replace it. And now you can see that everything's solved, except for the middle layers. And now this is where you resolve your centers. Now it's only the last 4 edges in the middle, and I want to teach you how to solve that. So this is a bit different now, because you can't use the top slot for anything. Everything's just in the middle, and I want to run you through how I would do this. Now let's try and find a piece here. Okay, let's try and pair these two up. So if you notice that if I move it across, these two would be paired up. But first of all, you have messed up the centers, and if you move it back, then they would mess up as well. So what you have to do is use the flipping algorithm I taught you before. And now once I move it back, nothing is affected. Now time to find the other red and yellow piece, and that turns out to be here. So if I do the same thing as I taught you last time, and if that's moving across, flipping and rotating back, then this piece would be messed up as well. So what I have to do here is I have to get this on the same bottom layer as that. So once I slice and I do the flip and I move back, everything will be solved. So I'm just going to do that quickly, and you'll see what I mean. So you can notice that this and this piece are both in the bottom layer, and at first this looks strange, but there's a very easy way to solve this. Do a lowercase d2, and this matches up perfectly. Apply the flipping algorithm, d2 again, and that puts it right back to where it needs to be. Now to another edge. So let's see what I can do. These two. Okay, so with this is basically what I did before. You can move it across, and you see how if I move it back, then obviously it messes it up. So I need to do an edge flip, and then move it back, and these two are still in place. Now where's the last piece? Conveniently it's here. Okay, and now you can notice that this piece and this piece are in different layers. So what you need to do is try to get them both on the bottom layer. And so I made a mistake before. You don't have to flip this to the bottom. What you can just do is just a double turn like that, and that doesn't really mess up anything. So now that they're both on the bottom, D as usual, flip, D prime. And now 2 of them are solved. Now to the last edges. So there's 2 more to go, and I think I'm going to do, they're basically both identical. I'm just going to do the blue and the yellow. So in this case, these two need to be on the same layer as before. So I can move this across, flip, move it back, and it will be solved. So instead of trying to flip one of them, you can just do an R2 and an L2. So for example, if I just do an R2 here, then this piece and this piece are now both on the bottom layer. So to get this to pair up with this, D2, flip before I move back. So now I can safely move back, and it's solved. And this, you need an algorithm to solve, and I'll go through it now. And for this case, all we need is a quick algorithm, and I'll put it up and I'll go through it now. And congratulations, you just solved the edges of your big cube using the free slice method. Now I'm going to go over the cases that I didn't go over before. So sometimes you may get this case. Now I'm going to focus on the green and the red. Now this is actually more common than the cases I showed before, but I just didn't get it for some odd reason. So with this, what you actually need to do. So for this case, what you actually need to do is move this slot over so it pairs up here, right? Now don't focus on the blue and yellow, that might mess you up. It's only the green and the red. So now, if I flip this green and red piece to the bottom and move it across, it would solve this edge. So one more time, I would do it, move it across, do an edge flip, and then move it back across. And that's pretty simple. Now here's another case you might encounter. So this is basically like the algorithm parity case I showed you before, but in this case you actually have an empty slot that you could work with, so you don't actually have to use the algorithm straight off the bat. If you recognize this case, what you can do here is move one of these pieces across like that, perform the flipping algorithm, move it back, and now you have these two and these two perfectly set up to solve. So what you can do, as I've taught you before, is move the bottom across, perform the flipping algorithm so that this goes back to the top, and then slice back, and that solves this piece. Now after that, how you solve the rest of the case is actually pretty intuitive, so I'm just going to leave it to you at that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of me explaining how to do free slice on big cubes. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. See you all in the next video.